Hello, 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 everyone. How's it going? It's nice and snowy here. Big, fluffy snow. It's very pretty. I'm excited to be welcoming our guest, and she is here now. So, Jane, go ahead and click that plus button or whatever it has there and ask to be added as a co-host. And here we go. It says sent a request to be in your live. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Our expert will be joining us here in just a minute. I did press accept to let you in, Jane, so try it again here. If anybody stops by, please, if you watch the replay or if you're here with us live, please drop a note in the comments. Let us know that you stopped by. And our guest, Jane, is going to be talking to us today about the work of Byron Katie, which is something that she is very, very passionate about. She has recently become a continuing education provider, and I'm really excited for her to share about this work. But I don't know why it's not letting Jane in. I'm saying accept. Jane, you are on your phone, right? Oh, it says unable to join. Okay. Usually when that happens, it's if you try to join on a computer. Try again. There we go. We got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, should I go this
Yeah, there
way?
you go. Perfect. We could do it like this. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Me too.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having me,
of
Michelle.
course. Of course. So we're just popping on to do a live and learn about the amazing work that Jane's doing. So Jane, take a minute and just introduce yourself.
Sure. Well, so I'm a LMFT
Mm-hmm.
in Sacramento, California, and you know, I have been doing the work of Byron Katie since 2009.
Okay.
2009. Yeah. Um, and I absolutely love it. You know, when I first was becoming a therapist, um, like I did my bachelor's in psychology, I did my master's in psychology, and I explored different treatment modalities and even different spiritual practices. I
Mm-hmm.
got into Buddhism and studied Buddhist psychology. Everything felt like there was something kind of missing,
Mm-hmm.
like it wasn't satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. I would I would come up to um, either a type of problem or a type of thinking that couldn't get addressed by
Mm.
something I was using before.
Okay,
And
so it fell short of really addressing all of the things that you wanted to work on with your clients.
yeah, like it wasn't fully comprehensive. I couldn't find
Mm-hmm.
anything that's fully comprehensive.
I,
And
I mean, I can relate to that. I think that's why so many of us ended up being eclectic therapists because you take a little bit from this and a little bit from that and a little bit from this, and there isn't really a comprehensive overall kind of modality. At
right,
least there wasn't
right, that's
when I was trained.
right. That's how I was trained too. And so then actually what happened was I was doing my internship working with fellow intern therapists, and a friend there, a fellow therapist, said she was reading an Eckhart Tolle book, New Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Okay, let
so
me just say, all right, I'm going to put my opinion in here.
yeah,
That book
yeah.
ticked me off and I couldn't get past it because at the very beginning, he has an intro where he says something along the lines of if this book doesn't resonate with you, it means you're just not evolved enough
Oh.
to understand it. That's it. And I was like, okay, that's just,
Yeah.
I personally was triggered by that. But anyway, okay, so your friend read
That
this
kind of
book.
makes it exclusive. Yeah. Um, yeah. So we read the book, enjoyed it,
Mm-hmm.
had deep conversations, and then I watched an interview with Eckhart Tolle, and then he said he talks about the what, and Byron Katie talks about the
Okay.
how. Yeah, and so I had heard about the work of Byron Katie, about her book called Loving What Is prior to that.
Okay.
But when I saw that it was about identifying and questioning stressful thoughts, I thought, well, I have a master's degree in psychology. Like we've
Mm-hmm.
learned all the CBT, and I felt
Mm-hmm.
like that didn't sound like anything new, really.
Right. We know about unhealthy thought
Yeah,
patterns.
yeah. So after Eckhart Tolle said I talk about the what and she talks about the how, I thought, well, okay, let me look into it. Let me see if
Yeah.
this is any different. So I read the book, Loving What Is, and oh my God, Michelle, I was just blown
Mm.
away. Before I was done with the book, I was looking online for how can I get more of this into my life?
Yes, it just really resonated with you as something that you wanted to explore more.
Yes,
Yeah.
I wanted to experience it more deeply. And I thought, well, I want to use this for clients. That was my
Mm-hmm.
my first draw. Like, oh, this sounds like it is the comprehensive thing I've been looking for.
Yes, absolutely. Kind of the overarching guidepost for your work.
Yes, yes. So then um I signed up to go to the 9-day workshop known as the 9-day school for the work.
Okay.
And it was in,
And for anybody who hasn't seen it, it's the work with capitalized work.
yeah, the work, capital T, capital W, the work of Byron Katie. So it's also in research known as inquiry based stress reduction. So IBSR. Um, so I went to the 9-day school for the work and discovered that, oh, doing the work for myself is what really where the magic was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 9 days of this incredible breaking through of like everything that I thought I knew. It's like it's becoming friends with not knowing. It's really
Mm-hmm.
becoming comfortable with not knowing, and discovering that everything I'm thinking and believing is what's shaping my experience.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as that becomes clear, and through questioning your thoughts, then you get to experience your environment and any situation completely different. Completely different.
Okay. Give us an example.
Okay. So, for example, I used to okay, so I would get really bothered by my husband leaving his socks on the floor. And this is just a small
Mm-hmm.
example, okay? Because it can apply to anything. So I would get really frustrated when my husband would take off his socks and just leave them like wherever he took them off after work. And I, yeah, I would get frustrated with him.
Mm-hmm.
So then I identified the thought he should pick up his socks.
Okay, so there's that should.
Yep, yep. So, and there is a worksheet. It's called the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet,
Okay.
and it's 6 questions that help to pull out, to draw out all of the thoughts that you're believing in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wasn't clear, if I didn't have a thought that was just coming to the top of mind, or if I wanted to be, when I want to be thorough and make sure I get it all, then I pull out the worksheet
Mm-hmm.
and I get to work on identifying the thoughts.
Okay.
Um, okay, but
Yeah.
in this situation, I just had a thought that was very, just rose to the surface
Mm-hmm.
and it's clear. So I just questioned the thought, he should pick up his socks. And yes, so like you pointed out, the should is there, and that is clearly arguing with reality. And
Mm.
anytime that we are arguing with reality, there's going to be suffering.
Mm.
That's the
Mm.
cause of
Mm.
suffering. Because any
Mm.
any kind of frustration, sadness, anger, any feeling that is interfering with our experience of love is like an alarm that can bring us to the thoughts that we're believing. So it's like that feeling is an alarm that we're believing a stressful thought.
Okay. So just so hearing yourself thinking that should or that expectation, that is sending off like a warning signal that you need to look at something.
Yeah, well, it's feeling the
Okay.
frustration. Like I get angry at my husband for leaving the socks.
Gotcha.
And then it's like, okay, that frustration, that anger, that is the alarm. Okay, what are the thoughts? Or what is a thought? So then a thought, he should pick up his socks. So then there's four questions. The first one is it true? So he should pick up his socks. Is it true?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And then the second question is, can you absolutely know that it's true? Like, can I absolutely know that what I want for reality is how reality is supposed to be?
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
I mean, this is a great example because I want to say yes, but maybe there are people who, it's okay to wade through socks.
yeah. Yeah. Or, I mean, maybe there was something else going on with him at the moment that
Hmm.
made it more important to do something else instead of
Right. Yes.
taking care of his socks. Yeah.
Good point. I
So,
mean, I can see that I just jumped to an assumption that I'm thinking he does this all the time and there's just socks everywhere. And I'm like, at what point are you like kicking socks out of the way to, or tripping or,
yeah, yeah. And what other priorities of his am I trying to judge against? Like, yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm. So, for all these reasons and more, no, I can't absolutely know
Right.
that he should pick up his
Right.
socks. So then the third question is, how do you react? What happens when you believe this thought? Now,
Mm-hmm.
the work is a meditative experience. It's about, you know, checking in with yourself and finding what is true for you. It's noticing
Mm-hmm.
how I react. Like, what are the emotions? What are
Mm-hmm.
the physical sensations? What does it feel like in my body when I see those socks? It's like my shoulders go up to my ears,
Mm-hmm.
my breath gets shallow, I get a little burning in my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
There's images that come to mind, images of all the other
Mm-hmm.
times that I saw his socks,
Yeah.
images of the future, like I'm never going to get to stop picking up his socks. Like I'm going to have to pick up socks forever. Like these
Mm-hmm.
images the mind offers up as proof that this thought is true. Like, so then, you know, another piece of how I react when I believe the thought, how you react, we're looking at how does this thought try to protect you? Like, your mind is, because this is really about discovering how the mind works and
Mm-hmm.
getting to know it, right? And
But then
making,
also dropping deeper into the body. To me, it sounds like that is where this stands out from something like CBT, because you start the same, what's the thought that I'm having, and you examine its validity. But then from there, you drop down deeper into your body, into your emotions.
mm-hmm, yes,
Yeah. So it seems to have many layers to it.
absolutely. Yeah, and I noticed, just a side note, when I started doing the work, it allowed me to sit in meditation with so much more stillness.
Mm-hmm.
For my mind, yeah, it was just a different experience. And after questioning my thoughts, it's like the stillness, the ability to really appreciate support all around and notice how the world is happening for me, not to me.
Mm-hmm.
That begins to get clear. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so taking the sock example all the way through. So you're now dropping
Yes.
down, you're noticing how it feels in your body, and then where do you go from there?
Okay. So then the fourth question is, and we're noticing all the different ways that the thought, when we believe the thought. So how do I treat
Mhm.
him? Do I yell at him? Do I give him a look? Do I give him the cold shoulder for a couple hours? notice, how do I treat myself? Like, okay, I'm the one who has to make sure everything is right in the house. You know, what is the role that I'm taking on?
Hmm.
So when I'm believing this thought, it has all these different impacts, and I'm just taking some time to notice it. So then the fourth question is, who would you be in this situation without this thought? So I walk in, I see the socks on the floor, and who am I? What is that like without this thought, he should pick up his socks?
Mm.
Without the thought, I, I
It's
just go pick up the socks.
it's a sock, yeah.
I don't want the socks there. I see them and I pick them up. I put them
Hmm.
in the hamper.
Hmm. Or you could remind him, hey, can you get your socks?
Totally. In fact, I could do
You could do
both.
both, yeah, either way. But it's, yes, it takes away all that emotional charge and all that baggage
Yes.
underneath it and the
Absolutely.
stories. Oh,
Absolutely. And
yeah.
then so it's not being passive and submissive to your life. It's the opposite. It's
Hmm.
being able to move through and do what feels right and true to
Hmm.
you without this interference that would make it painful.
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm. And then after the four questions, then the last step is doing the turnarounds.
Okay.
So we turn the thought around, and the original thought, just as it was, so he should pick up
Hmm.
his socks. So there are generally three different ways we turn the thought around. So the opposite, he shouldn't pick up his
Hmm.
socks, and notice examples, like what is a real life example in this situation.
His back is broken, and I don't know how he got his
Totally.
sock off. So there's a hole in the story. But yes, he's injured in some
I could
way. He cannot
kick
pick up
my
the sock.
socks off with my
Uh-huh.
feet.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yes. Okay. Yeah, his back is broken. He's in traction, and he took them off with his feet.
Yeah.
Definitely should not and cannot pick up his sock.
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, say like there was something urgent happening
Hmm.
and he had to go and run and do that. He just didn't have the time to do it. I would want him to go take care of what's urgent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And some people can't stand to sleep in socks and will just like take them off in their sleep.
Uh-huh. Yeah, definitely. So, okay, and then another turnaround would be to the self.
Hmm.
So, he should take off his socks. I mean, he should pick up his socks. I should pick up his socks.
Okay.
And or actually, that would be the other. The self would be all to me. So I should pick up my
Okay.
socks. So I should pick up my socks.
Hmm.
Then I notice what are the times where I've left, whether it's socks or something else laying around. Like
Oh, yeah.
I have a problem with his socks, but my purse can sit on the stairs and that doesn't
Hmm.
bother me, you know?
Hmm. Absolutely. I mean, anyone who cohabitates with anyone has that thing. Like your pile of shoes is over there. Okay, but your pile of coffee cups is over there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and just noticing how it's true for me too, it brings this open heart to the situation. It's
Hmm.
like my compassion for my husband grows as I'm noticing, oh yeah, I do it, he does it. It's just a
Hmm.
human thing to do.
Yeah.
Mm.
I could definitely feel it in myself when you were saying like, well, he shouldn't pick up his sock. I'm like, wait a second, what? You know,
Yes.
but it definitely kind of removes those layers so you can just kind of breathe. And it's just a sock. It's not worth blowing up your whole relationship over, blowing up your whole mental health and peace of mind.
Or losing one moment of
Yes.
love with your husband.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then the third type of turnaround is to the other. So uh, I should pick up his socks.
Okay.
So I mean that's the reality. I'm the one who wants them off the floor,
Hmm.
so I should pick them up. Like I should do
Hmm.
what I want to do.
I could see that getting nuanced though as a therapist if you're working with someone who is codependent or has poor boundaries, and they're like picking
Mm-hmm.
up socks when it's indicative of a much bigger thing. Like that's kind of where I go as a trauma therapist is
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you picking up his socks. I want you to set boundaries and work it out so that you can pick up your own and he can pick up his own.
Absolutely. So I hear you.
It
And
it gave me a little, I don't want you to pick up his socks.
yeah, yeah. So, and then if I fight against it, if I leave the socks, I mean, either I pick them up or I don't, and neither
Hmm.
one is wrong.
Right.
But the should is like equal. It's
Mm.
equal. And if I'm fighting against reality, it's like, so if I'm in a relationship where there's more happening and I'm wanting to leave but not
Hmm.
leaving, then what are the thoughts that are stopping me from leaving? And we get into that. The idea of like if there's something else that's stopping you from picking up the socks when you really want them up, it's like then I can question those thoughts that are interfering too. Yeah.
Yes. Well, tell us a little about how doing this work, learning it, practicing it, how has it changed the way that you work with clients?
Oh, I love that question. So when I'm when I'm doing the work, I'm it's full accountability. Like I there's no blaming anybody else. It's like I get to notice what I have control over and what I don't.
Hmm.
It's just so clear. And when I when I'm working with clients, I get to speak from the awareness of having questioned the thoughts myself. So it's like when I used to work with clients who weren't doing something I thought they should be doing,
Yeah.
I had this kind of pressure or stress, like I wanted them to be different somehow.
Hmm.
After questioning my thoughts and noticing that I can't make myself be different until I am, like until that is in my awareness, then I work with clients from that space of accepting them exactly where they are, like respecting that they really are doing the best that they can in this moment
Yeah.
with the information that they have.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's like a joining and respect, like knowing that um, they know themselves better than anybody.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so, um, you know, I've learned EMDR, brain spotting, team CBT, like, I've done some other approaches, techniques. And so I bring some other things in.
Hmm.
We do mindfulness practices, but the work of Byron Katie it's shaping how I think.
Yes. Yes. That makes sense. It's your lens.
It is my lens. And just like with EMDR, how I wouldn't be doing a reprocessing on the initial appointment if, there's other
Mhm.
like safety
Sure.
building and right. It's like that. Like with the work, I would be building up to where there is an openness to questioning thoughts in a very
Mhm.
honest way. Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
I can tell that you're passionate about it and that you have really found your thing that you love. So, why would other therapists want to learn the work?
Ooh. Well, when I just I was working at a job for the past 12 years where I got to work with a whole range of clients, um, people who were on the verge of homelessness
Hmm.
to neurosurgeons and everything in between.
Hmm.
And the problems, I mean, content versus process, right? Like sometimes there's some case management type stuff to do, right? Like help somebody find something they
Hmm.
need. But when it comes to suffering, it's the same no matter what. It's about believing the thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is where once we can question the thoughts, once the client questions their thoughts, everything opens up. And so
Right,
therapists,
because they're no longer run by their thoughts. They now are able to put the thoughts in their place. It's
yes, and be
just a
free.
thought. Yes.
Yes. Yes. And then so therapists, if a therapist is feeling like a technique has
Mm-hmm.
limitations, um, there are many, many effective treatments out there. So I think a therapist who would like to feel more confident or who would like to expand what they what making friends with not knowing,
Mm-hmm.
realizing,
Yeah.
yeah, the
To
don't.
me, it's bringing to mind ACT.
I'm not
Acceptance and
familiar with
it's
that.
acceptance and commitment therapy, which is a offshoot of CBT, which is
Hmm.
based on radical acceptance of what is, and just
Hmm.
and realizing that our thoughts about what is are causing our suffering, not the actual thing.
Yes.
And so I would say if someone's a fan of ACT, even if they are a fan of cognitive therapies, and if they enjoy somatic approaches, if they enjoy mindfulness,
Hmm.
for me, when I was trained, I really fell in love with Yalom and Rogers. I
Mm.
love the humanistic and person-centered therapies. And it
Yes.
feels like this is very in line with that. So those are the people that are coming to mind for me,
Hmm.
that might enjoy this and
Hmm.
enjoy adding it in to your repertoire.
Hmm. And transpersonal psychology. I was very
Mm-hmm.
much drawn to that before. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have exciting news for anybody out there who does want to learn about the work. So tell us, Jane, about how they can learn from you.
Oh, well, um, soon I will be offering a workshop in Roseville, California, and once the uh, once it's secured, I will put the information out on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, and on my
Yeah.
website.
So make
Um,
sure you follow Jane on Instagram. Follow her right now. And yes, and Jane recently became a CAMFT provider. So she now is able to provide CEs through California Association of MFT, which is a huge organization and is very widely accepted. So even
yes,
if you're in a different state, check it out because there's a good chance that you'll be able to get the CEs.
thank you, Michelle.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so exciting. I know as soon as I talked to Jane about this, I could just see her excitement and her passion. And I have seen her CE outline and it's amazing. So keep your eyes open for that. Follow me if you're not already following, and I'll make sure that I share everything and share your links. Drop any questions that you may have in the comments. Jane will see them and can answer them for
Oh,
you. And
thank you.
let us know that you stopped by and watched.
Mm,
We're so glad that you joined us today. Jane, is there
yes.
anything else you'd like to add? Any last thoughts? Anything you didn't get to say that you want people to know?
Oh, you are such a delight to work with,
Oh,
Michelle, and
thank
I
you.
appreciate your support through this whole process very
Thank you
much.
so
Yeah.
much. You're so welcome.
Mhm.
Anybody out there who may not know, I do help mental health professionals become continuing education providers. I help navigate all the red tape and all the picky little admin stuff so that you also can become a continuing education provider and share about your passion.
Absolutely.
It's what I love to do, and stuff like this just it makes it all worth it. It makes me so
Oh,
happy to be able to support you so you can get this knowledge out there.
thank
So,
you.
and thanks for coming on Instagram Live with me. You were brave. I used to do YouTube. I used to stream on Zoom and I would stream it into my Facebook group. And then there were a bunch of changes with the rules around that. And it got to be a pain. So I've just been doing Instagram Live And for a lot of people, it's their first time hopping on here, and it's kind
That's
of a,
me.
but you just
Yeah.
do it. You just do it. You just jump on and it gets easier and you get used to it.
Yeah.
So, but I will put this on my YouTube as well, and I'll
Thank
make sure
you.
everybody has those links. Okay.
Oh, that's
All
exciting.
right. Thank you, Jane. Congratulations on everything. And we will definitely keep in touch.
Yes.
And I hope everybody has a good day.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.